What's up, you guys? I hope everybody's having a great day. So this video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be like a trucking vlog or whatever it is that I usually make, but this is going to be about personal finance and saving money, which I know is so exciting, right? But to me, that is something that is really exciting and that I find interesting. And it's going to be about my plan to save $50,000 in this very first year of trucking. Now, I'm not a millionaire or a financial guru or anything. I just want to share what I'm doing so other people can see what's possible, and maybe you can learn something from it or be inspired to save more money and plan ahead, because I think everybody should be planning ahead. You don't want to drive your entire life. Well, maybe you do, but you don't want to have to, right? Sorry if it's loud out here, guys. I just had to get out of the truck. But so how realistic is it really to save $50,000 in a year, or your first year of trucking? If you set yourself up correctly, it's very possible. So my first 2 months out here, I was able to save $4,000 each of those months, well, roughly. So over 12 months, that's $48,000. Now, I do expect that number, my savings number, to increase as the year goes on, because I'll be able to make more money and I'll get better at saving money. So I do think that $50,000 goal is very achievable. And I'm going to give you guys my tips on how I save money, and a really, really great tool that you need to be using, because it helps so much in finding clarity on where your money is going and be able to save more of your income. Sorry about the noise. So we're back in the truck. So what's the best way to put yourself in a position where you can save the most amount of money? So if you look at almost anybody's expenses, their two biggest ones are going to be housing and transportation. So your rent or your mortgage payment and your car payment. Now, what I'm about to say might seem a little bit extreme, and I know not everybody is able to do this. You might have people that depend on you to pay for housing or transportation, but if you are able to take advantage of eliminating those two expenses, then that'll put you leaps and bounds ahead of the game. So right now I do pay rent. I'm in a lease. It's up in October. It's not a whole lot. It's about $700 for my part of the rent. So I have a roommate. I tried to get out of the lease early, but I couldn't find anybody to replace me, so that goes until October. But once that comes around, I'm not going to renew, because at least for the time being, I don't spend much time at home, and I don't really plan to. And if I do end up going back home, I can just stay with friends or rent a hotel if I want my own space, or stay with my parents. And my car payment is $0. I do have a car, but it's already paid off. So before coming out here, I put myself in a position where I could already save a lot of money. And I know what you're probably thinking. You can't live forever without having a housing payment. You're not going to be out driving for multiple years without taking more than a few weeks of home time. That's totally true. I don't plan on doing that. I don't think anybody plans on doing that. But at least for this first year, if you're just getting into trucking, if you're somebody younger, or just somebody who is in a position where you could take advantage of not having to pay for housing, I think you absolutely should do that. But there are ways that you can have housing. You can have good housing and not pay for it. It does require a little bit of some creative real estate investing. I can make another video about how people do that. Obviously, I'm not currently doing it, so I can't speak from experience, but there are thousands of people who have done it before. So there are ways that you can still have housing, but not have to pay for it. But that's a topic for another video. So this video is about saving money, right? So the number one tip behind cutting housing and car payments out of your budget, if possible, would be to track your spending. Now, there's a few ways you can do this. You can either go the old school caveman style, where you literally write everything down, all the money you make, and then write everything that you bought that day and track it that way. Or there's this really, really great app that I use called Mint. It's completely free. I've never paid $1 for the service, and it's an outstanding service. So All that you do is you just sync all your accounts, and it automatically tracks all of it for you. It tracks all your spending, and it puts it in these nice little charts and graphs and whatever. And you can easily see line by line what you're spending every single month, what you're spending it on. It breaks it down into categories, and it gives you, you can set goals, so it tracks your progress for savings or investments, whatever it is. So that app is called Mint, and I would highly suggest that everybody who wants to save more money downloads that app, and for the first month or 2 months, you just go about your spending as usual, and you just observe what you spend money on. And from there, you look at where you're overspending, where where you could spend less money and it wouldn't really affect your life negatively, and you cut that out. That's how I initially got on the track of saving money. And it's actually, once you start doing it, it becomes really addictive. Like, your habits really start to change. Even as I was just coming into trucking, I just spent money as usual, and I tracked it, like I said, and then my habits naturally started to change to spend less money. Not even because I was consciously saying, okay, I'm spending this much on food, this much on whatever else, miscellaneous stuff, I need to hit this specific number. It was just naturally seeing it all the time. I was like, wow, I really don't need to be spending that much. What are ways that I could spend less in each category? And naturally, over the course of just a few weeks, I started spending less money just because I was able to see it and where every single dollar was leaving my bank account. So you're on track, you're saving money, but then what's the point? What's the point of saving $50,000 a year? Why don't you just spend money on things that you think will make your life better, that will improve your quality of life? And that's a great question. So the way that I look at money, and I read this in a book, well, it was a long time ago. It's a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you never read that book, you should definitely read that book. But what I got from it, the way that it made me think about money is that you don't use your money to buy liabilities. You only use your money to buy assets. Okay, so the income that you do work for, you use that money to buy assets. Assets are things that pay you. Okay, liabilities are things that you pay and get no monetary return on. So things like your car payment or your rent, those are liabilities. None of those things are giving you any monetary value in return for the money that you put into it. But if you use the money that you get from working and put that into assets, things that pay you back over time, if you do that for long enough, then eventually those assets will pay you enough that you won't have to work anymore. You won't have to work for money. And at that point, you're financially free. And that's the goal that I'm trying to reach, is to be financially free, where I could not work if I didn't want to, right? So that's the reason that I'm trying to save as much money as I can, and trying to find ways to invest it, because I want to be in a position early on in my life where I can work on things that I'm passionate about and not have to work for money, and to be free from any employer or having to work for somebody else. I can just work on things that I want to work on. Now I'm gonna give you guys just a really basic example of like a time frame. If you were to invest $4,000 every single month for 12 years into the stock market, assuming it gets an 8.5% return, which on average, since its inception, it's got a 10% return, but we'll use 8.5 just to be conservative. So if you did that every single month, you could expect to have $1 million portfolio value in just 12 years. But what does $1 million get you? So using the 4% rule, which is if you only withdraw 4% of your portfolio's value every year, you can do that into perpetuity. So you'll essentially never run out of that money. So 4% of $1 million is $40,000. So if your expenses are $40,000 or less, at that point you would be financially free. And I'm not saying that that's the best way to do it, or the way that you should do it, or even how I plan on doing it. But that's just to give like a really basic example, and probably the easiest, most passive way that you could possibly achieve financial freedom. Because if you're just investing into like basic index funds, that takes literally no work on your part. All you do is you're just putting your money into it and it's giving you money back. But if you want to work a little bit more and take some more time to learn about other investment avenues, such as like real estate or starting your own business or something, you could get to that financial independence number a lot faster actually than 12 years. So that's the final thing for this video. Like I said, I do want to make more videos on like personal finance, mainly just to sort of document my journey, and so that other people can learn from things that maybe I did right or things that I messed up on. And I've never asked for likes or subs or anything, but if this video was valuable to you, definitely give it a like and share it with somebody who maybe could benefit from it. But yeah, and I hope that everybody has a wonderful day. I think I said that in the beginning, but I wish it double. So thanks for watching, and that's about it.